Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's that time of month again. We're going to go through everything that I read in April, and I'm going to rank it and give it a rating, give you a little summary, tell you my thoughts about it, and then maybe we'll talk about what I'm reading in May. I have some tea here. I have my list there. I think we're ready to go. Sorry if I sound a little congested. I have taken 2 Zyrtec and a Benadryl today, and they are not working, so clearly there's something wrong. So I read 7 books in April. Most of them are actually physical copies, so this is the first month I think this whole year where I actually have some props to show you. So this was a pretty good month. Most of the reads were kind of average, and then there were a couple really good ones. Lowest I gave something was 3 stars. Oh my god. I have even another one. 1 second. I am a mess today. Without any further ado, let's just get into it. I think this was really difficult, but I think my least favorite book this month was The Strays by Emily Bitto. This is historical fiction, and it's about this young girl who befriends the daughter of a very well-known avant-garde modernist painter in Australia in the 30s, I think. Yeah, 1930s. And she basically just hangs out at their house all the time and is experiencing the art movement, writing about it. And it's basically about her friendship with this girl and how it kind of all fell apart. So it was really interesting, and I was really into it for maybe the first and second act, and then the third act just didn't deliver, really. Like, it just kind of ended, which is fine, but it's not really. I'm not a huge historical fiction person anyway. I mostly picked this up because the cover is pretty. I found it at a used book sale. It used to be a library book, so it has the nice, like, plastic cover. It was worth reading, and I'm glad I found it, but didn't quite hit the mark for me. And it was kind of predictable. Like, I feel like a lot of historical fiction is, honest, or at least women's historical fiction. It's always like someone gets pregnant or someone runs away with a man, like always like that romance aspect of it. So I like that. I gave it 3 stars, but it didn't quite do it for me. Number 6 is Robbing the Bees by Holley Bishop. This is a biography of honey, part like nonfiction science material about bees, part memoir, kind of. I got this for my birthday because I got a bee tattoo. Very thematically appropriate. There were parts of it that were really good, and I learned a lot. There were other parts where I was like, are we sure? Are we sure? Like, there's this whole chapter where it's talking about the health benefits of honey and how it's been used historically in herbal medicines. And there were a couple of things that she said where I was like, are we sure? Is there any empirical evidence to support that? And this book, for whatever reason, didn't have a bibliography. I'm not exactly sure what she was referencing for some parts of it. There are a few genres that I typically will not read anymore because I don't typically like them. I'll read them on occasion, but not really. These are usually westerns, memoirs, and historical fiction, typically. I'll still read it occasionally because there's so much of it, but I know that it's not necessarily my cup of tea. There was a little bit too much memoir in this for me personally, but for some people that may be a bonus. So yeah, I give that 3 stars. It was good, but I still, you know, I clearly had some problems with it. Number 5, The House on the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I did a whole reading vlog about this, so if you're curious about my thoughts on it, you can go watch the reading vlog, and I, like, watch me experience it in real time, essentially. It was good. It was cute. I say in the video, it really felt like the author was holding your hand throughout the entire story so you didn't miss the symbolism, and that is just not my cup of tea at all. I'm glad I read it. Like, it was very sweet, but there were several times where I'm like, I get it, TJ. I get it. I get it, I promise you I understand. Yeah, if you don't know what that one's about, it's basically this world where there's a government agency in charge of magic, and a caseworker from it goes to an orphan of magical children and is supposed to be evaluating them, and he makes a found family with them. So, very cute, worth reading, but again, don't hold my hand. Let me figure things out. Let me feel smart. So number 4 is Absolutely on Music by Haruki Murakami and Seiji Ozawa. And basically this book is just an interview between Haruki Murakami and Seiji Ozawa. You know how I just said that I don't like memoir? Or like honestly biography or autobiography. I'm like, I don't want to know anything about anyone ever. I'm like, we're not close enough for this. I don't even know you in real life. This, for whatever reason, did it for me. Like, I think because it was the conversation format, it was just fun. And I also, something I did as I was reading this, because a couple of the chapters focused on specific composers or specific numbers, I would actually, after I finished reading, go and listen to it and like just fully sit and listen to the music. And that was kind of fun. I don't listen to a lot of classical music. If you're like me and you don't typically like reading memoirs or autobiographies, I would recommend this. This is just different enough that it was fun. It's interesting that Murakami doesn't have a lot of experience with music, but he knows so much about it. So like, because I'm a writer and I was in band in high school, so like I have the writing background and I have a little bit of a music background. So also like being kind of perfectly in the middle of the two of them was just interesting to see how they're communicating with each other about their art forms. So yeah, I gave that 4 stars. I would really recommend that. That was a lot of fun. Okay, number 3, The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I haven't read this in so long. This is my copy of it that I've had probably since I was like 8 years old. And I didn't realize until I started reading it, but it is an abridged version of it. It's meant for 8-year-olds. So like let me see. Like it's illustrated, the text is really big. I read this in like an hour. Very fun, very cute. You know, what needs to be said about The Secret Garden? It's absolutely perfect. I did realize though, as I started reading that I've actually never read the original version of Secret Garden. I've only ever read this version because this is the copy I had. So I may do that next month. I may get the full version, the unabridged of Secret Garden and read it. 5 stars. Easy 5 stars. So, number 2. Dragonquest by Anne McCaffrey. You may notice that this says The Dragon Riders of Bern. That is because this book is the first trilogy. I read this whole book. So I love Anne McCaffrey. She is one of my favorite authors of all time. She is absolutely perfect. She can do no wrong. I shouldn't say that. I decided to reread her. So Dragonquest is the second book. I read the first book back in March, which I didn't do a video for March because I realized that my upload day was April Fool's Day, and that was just too good to pass up. Too good to pass up. So I would really encourage people to read Anne McCaffrey if you haven't, because she is just like the way that we write about dragons now, like Fourth Wing. If you run in like the dragons in Fourth Wing, please read this, because the dragons in Fourth Wing were pretty much adapted directly from Anne McCaffrey, and I think they're better in Anne McCaffrey. So Dragonquest, the only reason it's not number 1, I think, is because it's pretty slow paced, and the thing about these books is they're not so much adventure. There's not a whole lot of like fighting and violence. It's mostly politics. So, and compared to Dragonflight and The White Dragon, the other 2 books in this one is a lot more politics heavy. Not a whole lot happens, and that is just not my preference right now. Like compared to the other 2, like I think that is my least favorite in this trilogy. But yeah, it's still very good. It's number 2, obviously. And that leads us to number 1, which is The White Dragon. I think I really just like the White Dragon more because it's a little more focused, and it also Menely is in it, and Menely is my favorite character in the entire series. She's just perfect. Yeah, I did just like White Dragon a little bit better, but again, they're both good. Would recommend them. I read that whole book in like 2 weeks, which is impressive for me because the text is really small. So yeah, that's what I got. I am currently reading the next book in the Dragon Riders of Pern. They're like 40 books, give or take. Is that right? Is it 40 or is it 20? I'm not sure. There are a lot of Dragon Riders of Pern books. So I'm on the second trilogy, which is the Harper Hall trilogy. The first book is Dragon Song. I just started that, and that is Menely's book. And I love her, so I'm excited to reread that. And then I'm listening to Haley Kiyoko's new book, the one that came out last year, Where There's Room for Us, like gay Pride and Prejudice one. Reading that. I don't know what else I'm gonna read. I have a stack over there, but we'll see as the spirit moves me. But yeah, those are all the books I read. Let me know what you guys read in the month of April. Let me know what you're reading in May. You can follow me on Fable and keep track of what I'm reading. The link is in the description. Other than that, pray for my sinuses, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!